The stars shimmered like tiny shards of glass scattered across an endless black canvas, their cold light reflecting off the sleek, crystalline surface of Captain Thexra's form. As one of the Galactic Defense Force's most seasoned commanders, Thexra had seen many strange things in the galaxy, but nothing could have prepared them for the enigma that was humanity. Stationed aboard the massive starship ***, Luminary Resolve ****, Thexra reviewed intelligence reports on a species that had managed to carve out a foothold in the vast emptiness of space. Humans. The data was both baffling and underwhelming. Their technology, though innovative in some areas, lacked the seamless sophistication of the galaxy's leading civilizations. What stood out most was their continued use of what the report politely referred to as primitive weapons. Projectile-based firearms, combustion engines, and even rudimentary explosives seemed to persist in their arsenal, despite the availability of advanced plasma technology and quantum-integrated defenses. To Thexra, it was absurd. Why would a species cling to weapons that should have been relegated to history books eons ago? Still, the reports noted something unsettling. Despite their outdated arsenal, humanity had a peculiar habit of prevailing in conflicts against technologically superior adversaries. They were scrappy, unpredictable, and strangely tenacious. This contradiction gnawed at Thexra's calculated mind like a puzzle missing its final piece. Their musings were interrupted by Lieutenant Kren, a junior officer whose crystalline appendages shimmered faintly in the low light of the command chamber. "Captain, we've entered the Sol system," Kren announced. "The humans have agreed to host a joint training exercise on one of their military facilities. Their representative, Lieutenant Rodriguez, is already waiting to receive us." Thexra nodded, their crystalline form shifting hues subtly, a sign of curiosity mixed with skepticism. "Let's see what they have to teach us," they murmured. As the alien vessel descended through Earth's atmosphere, the human landscape unfolded below them, vast cities interspersed with stretches of wilderness. It was chaotic and disorganized compared to the sleek efficiency of galactic core worlds, but there was a raw, unpolished charm to it. The landing pad came into view, and a group of uniformed humans stood waiting, their breath visible in the chilly morning air. Stepping off the ship, Thexra was greeted by Lieutenant Rodriguez, a wiry figure with a confident stance and a warm, almost mischievous grin. "Welcome to Earth," Captain Rodriguez said, extending a hand, a gesture Thexra had learned was a sign of goodwill among humans. They hesitated briefly before reciprocating, their crystalline fingers gently closing around Rodriguez. "We're here to observe your methods," Thexra said, their voice smooth but tinged with skepticism. "The Galactic Defense Force is always open to learning, but I must admit, your reliance on outdated technology intrigues us. What could we possibly gain from studying these primitive weapons?" Rodriguez's grin widened. "You might be surprised, Captain. Humans have a saying, it's not about the tools, it's about how you use them. Let's see if we can show you what that means." The training grounds were unlike anything Thexra had seen. Rows of soldiers practiced with strange, archaic devices, long, slender mechanisms humans called rifles. Others worked on assembling and disassembling these weapons with mechanical precision. The sound of controlled explosions echoed across the field as yet another group tested explosives that seemed more suited to mining operations than warfare. To Thexra, it all seemed crude, almost laughably so, and yet, as they watched, a strange efficiency began to emerge. The humans were quick, adaptive, and resourceful. Their soldiers didn't just follow orders, they improvised, using their surroundings and their equipment in ways that defied standard protocol. Rodriguez guided Thexra to a demonstration. "All right, Captain, here's the scenario," she said, pointing to a map of a mock battlefield. "Enemy forces have superior numbers, advanced weaponry, and energy shields. Our team has outdated rifles, grenades, and a handful of improvised tools. The objective is simple: capture their flag." Thexra studied the map, their crystalline structure glowing faintly with doubt. "With such limited resources, success seems unlikely." Rodriguez chuckled. "That's the point. Watch and learn." As the exercise began, Thexra's skepticism deepened. The human soldiers moved with purpose, their movements a blend of practiced strategy and chaotic creativity. muddying the enemy's shields with dirt, using slingshots to bypass high-tech defenses, and setting decoys to lure their opponents into traps. It was an unorthodox symphony of tactics that defied Thexra's logic. By the end of the drill, the human team had outmaneuvered their technologically superior adversaries, claiming the flag with a final dramatic rush. Thexra stood in stunned silence, their crystalline structure pulsating with confusion. How? They finally managed. Your weapons are primitive, your technology is outdated, and yet you succeeded. How is this possible? Rodriguez smirked, slinging her rifle over her shoulder. It's not about the weapons, Captain. It's about the mindset. Technology can fail. Shields can fall. But creativity, adaptability, and grit, those are the real weapons. And we've spent thousands of years perfecting them. Before Thexra could respond, a distant alarm blared, a low, mechanical hum that sent a shiver through even their crystalline form. Soldiers scrambled to their positions, and Rodriguez's grin faded, replaced by a steely determination. "Looks like we're about to get a real test," she said, grabbing her rifle. "Pirates. They've used a quantum disruption field to knock out our advanced systems. But don't worry, Captain. This is where we shine." As chaos erupted around them, Thexra found themselves thrust into the heart of a battle they didn't fully understand. The humans, calm and coordinated, fell into formation with weapons that shouldn't have been effective, and yet they were. Thexra's crystalline structure flickered with uncertainty as they gripped a human-issued rifle, its wooden stock smooth and alien in their grasp. "Welcome to the fight, Captain," Rodriguez called over the din of battle. "Time to see if you've got what it takes to survive the old-school way." And with that, Thexra found themselves rushing into the fray, the questions swirling in their mind, drowned out by the roar of gunfire and the realization that, perhaps, there was more to humanity's so-called outdated weapons than met the eye. The ground beneath Thexra's feet vibrated with the distant rumble of explosions. The air was thick with smoke and the sharp tang of burning materials, metal, chemicals, even vegetation. It was an alien environment, chaotic and unstructured, and yet the humans moved through it with practiced ease, as if the chaos itself were their ally. Rodriguez barked orders, her voice cutting through the cacophony like a blade. "Team Alpha, hold the eastern perimeter. Bravo, keep their drones out of the sky. And someone get Captain Thexra a crash course in survival, stat." Her tone was sharp but carried an undercurrent of confidence, a belief that they would come out on top despite the odds stacked against them. Thexra tightened their grip on the human rifle, its weight unfamiliar but oddly reassuring. Their crystalline form shimmered faintly with unease. As a captain in the Galactic Defense Force, they were accustomed to battle. But this was different. There were no energy shields, no plasma cannons, no sleek, efficient machines to do the heavy lifting. It was raw, unpredictable, and deeply unsettling. A young human soldier, barely out of their youth by Thexra's estimate, approached with a determined expression. "Captain," the soldier said, their voice steady despite the chaos. "I'm Private Lane. Lieutenant Rodriguez asked me to stick with you and make sure you stay in one piece." Thexra regarded Lane with a mix of gratitude and skepticism. "Your lieutenant has an odd sense of priorities," they said. "I am not untrained in combat, Private." Lane grinned, a flicker of humor in their eyes. "No offense, Captain, but out here, training isn't enough. You've got to think fast, act faster, and sometimes you've just got to get lucky." They gestured toward a nearby trench. "Come on, let's find some cover. I'll explain as we go." Thexra followed Lane, their crystalline form shimmering faintly with a kaleidoscope of emotions, curiosity, doubt, and a hint of fear. They dropped into the trench just as a deafening explosion rocked the ground nearby. Dirt and debris rained down around them, and Thexra's crystalline structure dimmed slightly, a physiological response to stress. Lane handed Thexra a small device, a pair of goggles with a cracked lens. "Here, put these on," Lane said. "It'll help with the smoke and dust. Not exactly top-of-the-line tech, but it gets the job done." Thexra hesitated, examining the device. It was crude by their standards, barely functional compared to the advanced optics they were accustomed to. But they slid it over their crystalline visage, finding the view surprisingly clear despite the imperfections. Humans seemed to have a knack for making do with less, Thex Ray observed. Lane smirked. It's a survival skill. Out here, fancy tech isn't always an option. Sometimes it's about who can adapt the fastest. As the battle raged on, Thex Ra began to see the truth in Lane's words. The humans fought with an intensity that bordered on reckless, yet there was a method to their madness. They used the environment to their advantage, turning rubble into fortifications, using smoke to obscure their movements, and even repurposing debris as improvised weapons. It was a chaotic dance, but it worked. What are those? Thex Ra asked, pointing to a group of soldiers who were rigging together what appeared to be a bundle of wires and metallic scraps. Lane glanced over and grinned. Improvised explosive devices, not exactly regulation, but effective. Sometimes you've got to get creative when you're outmatched. Thex Ra's crystalline form flickered with a mix of awe and disbelief. This ingenuity, it defies all logic. Why not simply use more advanced weaponry? Surely it would be more efficient. Lane shrugged, checking their rifle. Advanced tech is great until it isn't. The pirates knocked out most of our systems with that quantum disruption field. High-tech gear doesn't mean squat when you can't power it up. But these? Lane patted the rifle. These still work no matter what. That's why we keep them around. Thex Ra was about to respond when a series of sharp metallic whines pierced the air. Lane's expression darkened. Drones, they muttered. Pirates are trying to pinpoint our location. Stay low, Captain. Thex Ra crouched beside Lane, their crystalline form shimmering faintly with a pale defensive glow. Above them, small, insect-like machines buzzed through the smoke-filled sky, their sleek, angular bodies glinting in the dim light. Thex Ra recognized the design, surveillance drones equipped with thermal imaging and energy-based weaponry. They were efficient, deadly, and nearly impossible to counter without advanced defenses. Yet the humans didn't retreat. Instead, they adapted. One soldier pulled out what looked like a slingshot, loading it with a spherical object that glowed faintly. With a practiced flick, they launched the object into the air, where it exploded in a burst of light and electromagnetic interference. The drones faltered, their movements becoming erratic before they crashed to the ground. Thex Ra stared in disbelief. How? That shouldn't have worked. Lane grinned, their teeth flashing in the dim light. EMP grenades. Crude, but effective. Like I said, it's not about the tools, it's about how you use them. As the battle dragged on, Thex Ra began to understand the humans' approach to warfare. It wasn't about perfection or precision, it was about adaptability, resilience, and an unyielding determination to survive. They'd fought like cornered animals, using every resource at their disposal, no matter how small or insignificant it seemed. But amidst the chaos, a darker question lingered in Thex Ra's mind. Why? Why did humans fight this way? Was it desperation? Or was there something deeper, something rooted in their very nature? Their thoughts were interrupted by Rodriguez, who dropped into the trench with a wild grin. Her face was streaked with dirt, and her uniform was torn, but her eyes burned with determination. "We've got them on the run," she said, her voice rough but triumphant. "But we're not out of the woods yet. Captain, I need you and Lane to cover the western flank. The pirates are trying to regroup, and we can't let that happen." Thex Ra hesitated, their crystalline form flickering faintly. "Lieutenant, I am not familiar with your tactics. I may be more of a hindrance than a help." Rodriguez's grin softened into something almost reassuring. "You've got this, Captain. Just stick with Lane and follow their lead. And remember, sometimes it's not about knowing the plan. It's about trusting your instincts." Before Thex Ra could protest, Rodriguez was gone, disappearing into the smoke and chaos. Lane gave them a quick nod, their expression serious. "Come on, Captain. Let's show these pirates what updated weapons can do." With a deep, crystalline hum of resolve, Thex Ra followed Lane into the fray, their rifle at the ready. As they moved through the battlefield, dodging explosions and returning fire, Thex Ra began to see the humans in a new light. They weren't just survivors, they were warriors capable of turning even the most desperate situations into victories. But as the battle reached its peak, a chilling realization began to creep over Thex Ra. The humans' resilience, their ingenuity, their unyielding will to fight, these were not just traits of necessity. They were something far more profound, something that hinted at the true reason humanity still relied on outdated weapons. And as Thexrai raised their rifle and fired, their crystalline form shimmering with a newfound determination, they couldn't shake the feeling that they were on the brink of uncovering a truth that would change everything they thought they knew about humanity. The battlefield seemed to stretch endlessly, a labyrinth of smoke, fire, and debris. Every step was a test of instinct, every moment a balance between caution and action. Thexrai stayed close to Lane, mimicking the soldiers' movements and trusting their guidance. Despite their crystalline composure, Thexrai's internal rhythms pulsed unevenly, a sign of deep unease. As they pressed toward the western flank, Thexrai's mind was a swirl of conflicting thoughts. The humans' weapons, though primitive by galactic standards, were undeniably effective. But it wasn't just the weapons, it was the humans themselves. They'd fought with a ferocity and creativity that defied reason, and Thexrai couldn't ignore the unsettling feeling that there was more to it than sheer survival. Lane signaled for them to halt, pressing a finger to their lips in a universal gesture for silence. Thexrai crouched low, their crystalline form dimming to blend with the shadows. In the distance, muffled voices echoed, a group of pirates regrouping, their guttural tones punctuated by sharp, metallic clicks as they checked their weapons. Lane leaned in close, their voice barely a whisper. "They're setting up an ambush. We need to take them out before they can get into position. You good with that rifle, Captain?" Thexrai hesitated, then nodded. "I am proficient," they replied softly. "But I am unfamiliar with your improvisational style." Lane smirked faintly. "Stick with me. We'll make it work." The next few minutes unfolded in a blur. Lane moved with practiced precision, signaling Thexrai to cover one angle while they crept closer to the pirates. Thexrai's crystalline structure shimmered faintly as they fired their rifle, the recoil jarring but manageable. The pirates, caught off guard, scattered in disarray, their ambush thwarted before it could begin. As the last pirate fell, Lane exhaled sharply, wiping sweat from their brow. "Nice work, Captain. You've got a good aim." Thexrai glanced at their rifle, their crystalline form pulsing with faint unease. "It is not the weapon," they said slowly. "It is the intent behind it. I do not fully understand your people's relationship with violence." Lane raised an eyebrow, slinging their rifle over their shoulder. "What's to understand? You fight to survive. You fight to protect what matters. Isn't it the same for your people?" Thexrai's form flickered with a supple, iridescent ripple, a sign of contemplation. "We fight, yes, but we do so with precision and calculation. There is no room for chaos or emotion in our battles. What I have seen here today, it is different." Lane studied Thexrai for a moment, their expression unreadable. "Different doesn't mean bad," they said finally. "Sometimes it's what keeps you alive." Before Thexrai could respond, a sharp crackle came over Lane's comm device. Rodriguez's voice, strained but determined, cut through the static. "Lane, Thexrai, report back to the main base. We've got a situation, and bring anything you've learned. This isn't over yet." The journey back to the makeshift base was tense and silent, the air heavy with unspoken questions. When they arrived, the scene was chaotic. Soldiers moved in hurried, coordinated bursts, reinforcing defenses and tending to the wounded. Rodriguez was at the center of it all, her voice sharp and commanding as she directed the efforts. She turned to Thexrai and Lane as they approached, her expression grim. "We've intercepted some of the pirates' communications. They're not just here to raid. They're looking for something." Thexrai tilted their head, their crystalline structure flickering with curiosity. What could they possibly hope to find here? This planet is devoid of significant resources or strategic value. Rodriguez's jaw tightened. "That's what we're trying to figure out. But whatever it is, it's got them desperate. They're throwing everything they've got at us." Lane frowned. "Any idea what it could be? A weapon? Some kind of tech?" Rodriguez shook her head. "Nothing definitive, but we've got a lead, a cave system a few clicks east of here. Satellite scans picked up some unusual energy readings before the pirates jammed our systems. We think it might be connected." Thexrai's crystalline form shimmered with a pale, uncertain glow. "And you believe this cave system holds the key to their intentions?" Rodriguez nodded. "It's our best shot. but we'll need to move fast. If the pirates get there first, she let the sentence hang, the implications clear. Fexra felt a deep, pulsing rhythm within their core, a mixture of anticipation and apprehension. The humans' resilience and ingenuity were undeniable, but their methods were unpredictable. And now, they were on the brink of uncovering something that could change the course of the conflict and perhaps reveal more about the humans themselves. As the team prepared to head for the cave system, Fexra couldn't shake the feeling that they were walking into something far greater than a simple skirmish. The tension was palpable, the air thick with questions that begged for answers. What were the pirates after? And why did the humans fight with such relentless determination, even in the face of overwhelming odds? Fexra's crystalline structure shimmered faintly as they gripped their rifle, their resolve hardening. Whatever lay ahead, they would face it together with the humans. And perhaps in the chaos of battle, they would finally uncover the truth about the humans' so-called outdated weapons and the unyielding spirit that drove them to use them.